Economic crashes. They seem sudden, brutal, and unavoidable. Headlines scream about plummeting stock markets, lost fortunes, and financial panic. Millions of people feel powerless, as if disaster strikes out of nowhere. But what if crashes aren't accidents at all? What if they are the result of invisible forces quietly manipulating the flow of money, resources, and trust? The story begins long before the first headline. Crashes don't appear overnight. They are the outcome of decades of financial design, human behavior, and engineered scarcity. Every boom carries the seeds of its collapse, hidden in plain sight, guided by institutions that thrive on control. Think back to the Great Depression. Millions lost homes, jobs, and savings. Governments struggled to respond. Yet behind the scenes, banks and financial institutions had already set the stage. Risky loans, speculation, and unregulated credit created an invisible web that could only end in disaster. The crash was not random, it was inevitable. And the pattern repeats itself. From the 1987 market crash to 2008, each crisis shares the same DNA. Excess credit flows, inflated asset prices, and invisible mechanisms of leverage converge until the system reaches a tipping point. When confidence falters, when trust erodes, the illusion collapses, and ordinary people bear the consequences. This is the hidden power behind every crash, the manipulation of perception, credit, and liquidity. Banks and corporations and global financial systems are not passive observers, they are active participants, orchestrating the cycle of boom and bust. Scarcity is felt, panic spreads, and yet the underlying structure remains intact, ready for the next boom. Understanding this invisible influence changes everything. Economic crashes are not just unfortunate events, they are predictable, manageable, and sometimes even orchestrated outcomes of a system designed to concentrate power while making the majority feel powerless. Once you see the mechanisms, you stop being a victim of the cycle. You begin to recognize patterns, anticipate shifts, and understand that behind every sudden collapse lies a web of invisible decisions and engineered scarcity. Section 2. Let's dig deeper. Crashes are never purely about numbers, they are about psychology. Human behavior, trust, and perception are the hidden levers that trigger panic. Markets don't collapse solely because of failing businesses or rising debt. They collapse because people believe they will. Fear spreads faster than any financial contagion. Banks and financial institutions understand this. They know that confidence is fragile. They manipulate it through policy, liquidity, and messaging. A small shift in interest rates, a hint of uncertainty, or even rumors can trigger massive reactions. Which seems like chaos is often a carefully managed orchestration of human behavior. Take the 2008 financial crisis. On the surface, it was caused by mortgage defaults and risky derivatives. But behind that headline, trillions of dollars of leverage, complex financial instruments, and opaque agreements had quietly amplified risk for decades. Confidence shattered, panic spread, and the world watched as fortunes disappeared. Yet the architects of the system, banks, regulators, and investment institutions, remained insulated, controlling the flow of rescue funds and determining who survived and who didn't. Crashes also serve a purpose. They redistribute wealth, consolidate control, and reinforce the perception of scarcity. Ordinary people lose purchasing power, homes, and savings. The powerful gain influence and new opportunities. Scarcity is reinforced, and dependence on the system grows. It's a cycle that is repeated for centuries, from ancient banking collapses to modern financial crises. Recognizing the invisible forces behind these events is key. Crashes are not merely accidents, they are consequences of a system designed to favor the few. Understanding this allows you to see beyond the headlines, question the natural limits of scarcity, and navigate the cycles that shape the world's wealth. Once you grasp the psychology, the leverage, and the hidden structures, economic crashes become less terrifying. They are no longer random disasters. They are patterns to be studied, understood, and anticipated.
Section 3. Now let's talk about leverage, the invisible engine behind every major crash. Leverage is more than borrowed money. It's a tool that amplifies both profit and risk. Banks, corporations, and governments use leverage to multiply power and influence. But for ordinary people, it creates vulnerability. A small imbalance can trigger a chain reaction, collapsing entire markets. Consider derivatives, complex financial instruments most people don't even understand. They're designed to hedge risk, but also to concentrate it in invisible ways. When markets move against these positions, the ripple effects are catastrophic. Panic spreads, liquidity dries up, and the illusion of stability disappears in an instant. Even today, modern banking systems operate on thin margins of trust. Trillions of dollars in credit, loans, and investments flow daily, often with little oversight. The system relies on faith, the faith that institutions will honor obligations, that governments will intervene, and that confidence will remain intact. When that faith falters, crashes happen. It's not chance. It's the predictable collapse of a fragile structure built on belief, not reality. And here's the deeper truth. Crashes are cyclical because they serve the interests of power. Wealth is redistributed, control is reinforced, and scarcity is maintained. Ordinary people bear the brunt, while those with foresight or influence emerge stronger. The system ensures that history repeats itself, with the powerful remaining insulated while the majority experiences fear, loss, and uncertainty. Understanding this invisible mechanism is the first step to breaking free from it. Recognizing the cycles, the leverage, and the psychological triggers allows you to see the forces shaping economies, not as random disasters, but as engineered outcomes of centuries-old systems. Because the invisible power behind every crash isn't just money. It's control, perception, and the strategic management of scarcity. Section 4. Crashes are never random. They're the product of invisible systems, centuries of financial design, and the careful orchestration of perception, leverage, and trust. Ordinary people feel powerless, but understanding the forces at work reveals the hidden patterns of control that shape every market, every collapse, and every recovery. Banks, central institutions, and global financial players are not merely participants, they are architects of the cycle. Scarcity is engineered, confidence is manipulated, and wealth is redistributed in ways most will never see. Crashes expose the fragility of a system built more on belief than reality. Yet that fragility is invisible until the moment it breaks. Recognizing these hidden forces is empowering. Once you understand the invisible power behind every crash, you start to see opportunity where others see panic. You stop accepting the illusion of scarcity as inevitable. You learn to anticipate, question, and navigate a system designed to favor the few. If you want to continue uncovering the hidden truths of finance, don't miss the next video, The Truth About Inflation No One Explains. We'll reveal why prices rise, how money is manipulated, and why ordinary people feel the squeeze while the wealthy continue to profit. Before you go, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the bell icon so you won't miss the next eye-opening episode. Remember, economic crashes are not accidents. They are engineered, predictable, and controlled. Knowledge is your shield, curiosity is your power, and understanding the system is your first step toward breaking free.